Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Dupedia world, and I am Abhinay Gupta. So, again, we are continuing with the standards on auditing. So, how was your experience with the first two standards that we have covered? SA 200 and 210. I hope the content did seep down your brain, right? You realize, you analyze what it is, and so far, with so much of revision, you must have mugged up the entire essay. By mugging up, I mean you have mugged up the important words that you need to write down in your paper, which will fetch you marks. And understanding has to be crisp clear. Right? So if you have been through the essay, if you have prepared your hand notes, revised it, and you're following all the tips that I had given you in the previous class, in the very first class, right? Then believe me, you're going very good on it. Right? So if you have done that, give a thumbs up to yourself and let's move on with the next essay. So the next essay that we will be dealing with is essay 220, the quality control of an audit of financial statement. Now, when we talk about quality control, there's one simple fact that should strike your mind. That when we talked about the 5 categories of engagement standard, right? What did we refer to? That yes, we have standards on auditing. We had standards on review engagement in the 2000 series, 2400 and 2410 if you remember. Then we had standards on assurance engagement, 3000 series, and we had assurance on standards on related services, 4000 series. Apart from these 4, we had one more engagement standard, that was standard on quality control, 0 to 99. So SQC1. So when you already have a engagement standard which is specifically drafted for the quality control purpose, then why do we have a standard on auditing on the same topic? That is a question that you should think. Because when you get a question in your examination, which actually depends, the content would depend on the quality control, then you will have to decide what essay would you refer to. Will you refer to the quality control, the standards on quality control SQC1, or SA220, the quality control of an audit of financial statement? So how do you distinguish which essay or which SQC to refer to? So analyze it. The basic difference between these two is that SA220, the quality control of an audit of financial statement, basically deals with the quality control in a particular engagement. When you're going for a particular audit, we are talking about the quality control that you will maintain with that specific audit, with that specific engagement, right? Whereas on the other hand, the SQC1 refers to the quality control of the audit firm on the whole. So that is pervasive with all the other 4 standards, all the other 4 engagement standards. So the quality control that you study about in SQC1 would reflect in all the essays, would reflect in SRE, SRS, SAE, everywhere, right? That is the quality control of the entire firm. Whereas in SA 220 we reflect to the quality control of a particular engagement only. So do you get the difference? We have not yet covered SQC1. We will cover it after we have completed all the essay. But before that, you should always keep in mind that if we are talking about, for example, quality control of an engagement, right? Quality control of ABC Limited, that X, the partnership firm, the audit firm, right? They have undertaken an engagement with ABC Limited. They are the statutory auditors for ABC Limited. Now, what are the specific requirements of quality control that you would follow? What would you refer to? SA 220. And when we are talking about the quality control of this firm individually, on the whole, then you will reflect SQC1. And if we are talking about some other engagement, for example review, then you will not refer to SA220 or SQC1. For review you have a separate standard on review engagement. So you will reflect to that engagement, that it is not a standard on auditing engagement. You are not auditing it over there, you are reviewing it. SA220 will not be applicable. If you want to make a reference for the quality control in that matter, you will pick up references from SQC1. right? So this is basically the difference you need to analyze and understand. Whenever you are studying essay, right, you should always know the comparison between 2-3 essays or the relations between 2-3 essays, because that will help you to find that comparison or relation in the examination. So that if there is a question and you are referring to a particular essay, you know that yeah, I may have to refer to the other essay as well, because they are very much interrelated, right? So let us start with essay 220, the quality control of an audit of financial statement. So the quality control of a audit, not a review and not the firm, about the engagement, right? You know, if you refer to the study material of the institute for this standard, you will find a 21-page standard. It is huge, right? But all the content over there is not relevant for you, right? The kinds of questions that you get in your examination, you are not supposed to refer to all the content. Like you have definitions over there. You're generally not asked about the definition. You don't need to reflect, or you don't need to refer to those definitions. So try and understand what are the topics that you need to actually pick up from that 21 page of essay. Because you don't have a book that I have provided, I always insist on referring to the study material of the institute. Right, over there I told you, as it is always divided into objectives, the requirements and the application material. Right? So basically when you're talking about essay 220, we will deal with the objectives, we will deal with the requirements, and we will deal with the application material, right? But over here we will not go separate with all these, because again it would be a very lengthy essay and it would go on for a lot of lectures. So what we will do is, we would discuss the objectives, we would discuss the requirements, and along with that, wherever applicable, we would insert the application material. Because when you talk about the requirements, there are those specific points about which you have been given the requirements, and for the same points you have been given the application material. So going through it over and over again, that will waste our time. So what we'll do is, while we are going through the requirements, right, we would club the application material concept while discussing. Right? So basically, even when you are writing your examinations, you're not supposed to write, okay, this is the requirement, this is application material. No, you have to straight away write the fundas of this essay. Right? So all you need to know is the content without the bifurcation. So we will not lay a lot of stress on what is the requirement and what is the application material, although I will let you know. Right? But the main thing is that you need to understand what is the content of the essay and what does the essay mean to say, right? So we'll start with the objective. So objective of the auditor. Remember, we are concerned with the engagement. We are concerned with the audit, right? So what is the objective of the auditor? First, basically you need to understand the objective is to maintain the quality, right? So the objective of the auditor is to implement a quality control procedure. How do you maintain the quality? Right, you will have a certain procedure to implement that quality control, right? Where at the engagement level, we are not going on the overall firm level. It is only to that engagement specific, right? And that provides a reasonable assurance. Always remember, we are never providing an absolute assurance. So over here also, when we are implementing that quality control procedure at that engagement level, what we are actually aiming at is to provide a reasonable assurance that the firm and its personnel, right, they comply with the professional standard and the regulatory and legal requirement. Because when they are complying with these standards and requirements, they're automatically maintaining the quality, right? And you actually are implementing your separate quality control procedures that you have drafted for this particular engagement, right? So when you are actually dealing with the professional standards and regulatory requirements, you will have to connect them with your quality procedures. And secondly, that provides reasonable assurance that the report issued by the firm or the engagement partner are appropriate in all circumstances. That is why you require that quality. So that you don't miss out on anything, you don't jumble up something. Right? It has to be crisp, it has to be clear, it has to be readable, understandable. Right? And it has to be covering all the aspects. So the report issued by the firm or the engagement partner are appropriate in all circumstances is your objective. Right? So basically, If we talk about the objective, what are the 2 points you need to remember? Is that you have to perform the audit as per the professional standard, and the report has to be appropriate in all circumstances. That is it. That is just the 2 words that you need to remember for the objective, and then you have to frame the entire area around it. Crux: follow professional standard, give an appropriate report. That is why you're auditing, right? You have to give the report. And when you revolve around it, you go by the name of the essay. Okay, quality control. Okay, so we'll implement the quality control procedure. Okay, about audit of FS. That means at the engagement level. And you know that we always provide a reasonable assurance, which is high but not absolute. Right? So are you clear with the objective? This is it. And these 2 statements of the objective, right, that the firm should comply with the professional standard and that the report should be appropriate, will be used a lot of time in the flow of the essay. Right? So I will link it to you. So whenever you are studying the essay, right, when these statements appear again, you try to mug it up everywhere. But if you link it, instead of mugging the entire statement, you just link it. Okay, next is the objective. This is this plus the objective. This is this plus the objective. That is how you remember the objective also, and you know wherever it is being used. Right? Because mugging up things or learning things are very difficult. And when you are learning 44 standards and remembering each objective, the requirements of each essay becomes very difficult. So unless and until you link, you create your imagination, the picture in your mind, it will be very difficult for you to reflect it in the examination. So I will make an effort that it helps you, and you will have to make an effort to concentrate and picturize it in your mind. Right? Next we move on to the requirements to implement the quality control procedure. Right? What was your objective? To implement the quality control procedure. Now we'll see the requirements to implement the quality control procedures. So think, right? You have an engagement team, you have a manager, you have a senior, you have executives, you have audit assistants, you have a partner. So these are the engagement team, right? Now if there are 3-4 people and they go on a client and they start working, all of them, they open their laptop, they get the data prepared by the client. Okay, this is the flow, and they pick up and start moving. Do you think they will be able to conduct a good audit? Nobody has the control of who is doing what to start. They don't have a plan over there. Who will give them the plan? Who will actually supervise what they are doing? It is basically the duty of the engagement partner. Right? He will say that yes, manager, if there are 2 managers, if it is a big client, you will have 2 managers. So he will segregate the work. Manager A, you will take these areas from the balance sheet. Maybe all the liabilities, you take away the expenses, the sales, the purchases, right? You take away the other things, you take away the statutory dues, the employee benefits. This is how you divide area. Right? Inventory is a very typical issue. One of you considered inventory. You look out for the debtors and the creditors. Right? Thus, I don't think the firm is going on very well. We will have to check the impairment also. So these are the kind of things that you segregate. Then when it is segregated, the manager will again segregate things in his own team. That okay, if he has a senior and executive, the senior is more knowledgeable. He'll say, you handle these specific areas, then let the executive handle this. And in the meantime, you also have to train the article. So give him these vouching and verifications, or to do these procedural tasks, and teach him how to do them. Right? So this is how it goes on. So basically what you understand over here is that you will have to have a leader. Right? Without a leader you cannot work, you cannot perform. The leader will actually ensure the sustainability. Right? So the engagement partner, if you have 4 partners in the firm and one of them takes up this engagement as a signing partner, he is the engagement partner. Right? That engagement partner, basically he will take up the responsibility for the overall quality on each audit engagement that is assigned to him or her. So when he has come to the audit of this firm, this entity, it is his responsibility to ensure the quality of that audit. Right? So what will the partner do in order to maintain the quality? He will direct his subordinates, the managers, the seniors, executives, right? He will direct them to perform certain tasks. What he'll say is that whenever you're performing a task, right, always remember that you have to comply with the professional standards and the legal requirements. Because if you're doing that, they are already so exhaustive that you maintain the quality. The standards have been designed in such a way that they always maintain the quality. So if you're following the standards, you're maintaining the quality. Comply with the standards. First thing. Second, he wants them to comply with the firm's quality control policy. He will not go there and prepare a new quality control policy. No. The firm, the audit firm who has taken up the audit, they have their internal quality control policy. So he will want them to work according to that, because that will be a standardized process. Right? That will be easier for him to review, that will be easier for him to supervise, and that will be easier for the managers and the subordinates to follow also. So they will refer to the firm's quality control policy. Right? And their motive is to issue an appropriate audit report. So if we move on, leadership responsibility of quality of audit, engagement partner will take it up. Comply with professional standards, complying with the firm's quality control policy, and then issuing appropriate auditor's report. That is the matter of concern for the partner. If you want to maintain a good quality, you will have to give an appropriate report. Then the engagement team's ability to raise concern without fear. That is the concern of the engagement partner also. That if you want to maintain the quality, if you want to do the audit appropriately and into a pervasive nature, right? We want to do the totality check. So what we need to do is that if any one of you have any concern, work up to me, right? You will have to get up, walk up to me and give me the fact behind the scene. And you should not be scared of anything. Just bring it on to us and we'll manage it. Right? So he will have to instill that confidence in them that yes, you have to bring on all the concerns without fear. Right? And he will always have to maintain a concept in their brain about the fact that quality is essential in performing audit engagement. You are not just there to do the formalities. Okay, we are here, let us do this checking. Pluck, finish, documented, over. Next one, pluck, finish, documented, over. No, that is not the way of doing an audit. Right? Because your audit can also be exposed to peer review. Right? Even the quality control reviewer will check it, EQCR. So you will always have to do a serious audit. You will have to follow the procedures. Right? So this is actually the leadership responsibility of the engagement partner, that he will ensure that these things are going on. Right? So what are the things? Complying with professional standard, complying with the firm's quality control policy, issuing appropriate result report, and ability to raise concern without fear. These are the 4 points that you need to remember and you need to write it down if you get it in the examination. Right? Moving on, next you have the relevant ethical requirements. So you remember we covered the ethical requirement while we were covering SA 200. Right? What were the ethical requirements over there? IOPCP: integrity, objectivity, professional competence and due care, confidentiality and professional behavior. Along with it we had independence and professional skepticism. Right? Remember that? So those are actually the code of conduct, the code of ethics actually. Right? And that is the application material. That code of ethics has to be there. I told you we will divide the thing between the application material and the requirement. So the code of ethics is your application material. Right? Now how do you ensure that the code of ethics have been followed? How will the engagement partner assure? He is the leader, right? He has to assure that. So what will he do is he will get into the inquiry. He will observe the audit process and then he will conclude whether or not the code of ethics are being followed. Right? And if there is any indication of non-compliance with any of the code of ethics, with any of IOPCP, right, then what he will do is he will consult with the others in the firm, the other engagement team members, right, and then he will determine what is the appropriate action to be taken to amend what has gone wrong. Right? If somebody has compromised their objectivity or integrity, we will have to reverse that fact. Right? That is the purpose. So the engagement partner will always look into it. He will consult the team and then decide the appropriate action. So that is the ethical, relevant ethical requirement. And these part are the requirements of this essay. The requirement to implement quality control procedure. And the code of ethics is your application material. Similarly, if you go back to the previous slide, leadership responsibility, I have written R and A. So R is your requirement, that you should have a leader. That is the requirement. And your application material is the points that we have discussed. Right? So you always get to understand the difference between the requirement and the application material. Requirement is, okay, these things have to be there. Application material is, how do you perform? Okay, we'll have a leader. How will the leader perform? Right? He will check if the professional standards are being followed, firm quality control policy is being followed, report is appropriate, they are coming up with their concerns without fear. These are the application materials. Right? Basically, you are not supposed to know what is application material and what is requirement, but that is how the institute has divided their essay. And that is actually our reference document for everything. Whatever it is, that is what we need to understand and learn, because the checker will have his suggested answer based on the institute material only. So forget about any book referring any teacher, forget about any notes. If you have any, please pick the institute material up and flip through the notes and compare your notes whether or not they are in parallel with that material of the institute. If it is, follow the note. If it is not, please don't take the risk. Right? Next, ensure independence of the state of mind and appearance of the partner. So we have seen that if we want to maintain the quality control procedure, first we'll have to have a leader, and the leader has to see whether the ethical requirements are being followed. Right? And over there also in essay 200, when we were discussing, we discussed that the ethical requirement are IOPCP, and then we include independence. So over here also, first we have discussed the relevant ethical requirements, IOPCP, and now we are discussing about the independence. So you see, this is how you link and remember things. Okay, over there also we did it, over here also we are doing it. Same points over there also, same points over here also. Right? So basically, you know that independence is a must. So when a partner is going for an audit, right, he will have to ensure that all the partners of the firm are independent. It is not talking about the engagement partner individually. So if Mr. A, the partner of the firm, is going for an audit of ABC Limited, right, he will also have to check whether B and C are independent. Right? Basically, in Big Four, what happens is, whenever we get a new engagement, whenever we crack a new client, right, there is a mail that is floated to all the employees of the firm that this is our new win, we have this new client, so please ensure your independence regarding this client, because you never know, you may be in the team, and if it is a listed company, the entire team has to be independent. Right? And now independence, actually, when you judge the independence, what is independence? That he or his relatives, or if he's a director in a firm, if he's a partner in a director in a company, partner in a firm, they should not hold securities and blah blah. You already know what relation is, right? We are not going into it. But if you refer to, you have two acts to refer: the Companies Act and the CA Act. So as per the requirement of the Companies Act, the partner himself should not hold any security. That is enough. If the partner is not holding security, he is independent. But as per the Companies Act, even his relatives are not supposed to hold the securities. So if the wife or the brother of partner C, right, partner C has a younger brother, and that brother is into investments. So he has made an investment into ABC Limited, and he holds around 18% shares of ABC Limited. So will that result into a compromise of independence? A is going for the engagement, C is a partner, C is not holding security, but C's brother holds 18% security. Is it a compromise of independence? No. Why? Because as per Companies Act, it is not a compromise, the partners are not holding it, and as per CA Act, right, that act specifies the compromise that we will consider it to be relative only if they hold substantial interest, and substantial interest is defined as 20%. So it is 18%, you can go ahead with the audit. If it would be 20% or more, then we would have to seek what are the appropriate actions to be taken to amend it. Right? No matter C and his brother are in good terms or in bad terms, no matter if they don't talk to each other, but still C's brother D holds share, that means C will not be considered to be independent. right? So either you withdraw from the audit, or you will have to do something with the relationship of you and your brother, or your brother will have to dispose of some security, right? And these things actually have to be checked in the beginning before accepting the engagement. Oh, there's an issue, we are not independent, so we will not be able to conduct the audit. So in the first place, don't accept it, right? Then there will be no issue of withdrawing from the engagement in between, right? So to start with, the partner will have to form a conclusion, right? The conclusion on the compliance with applicable independence requirement, whether or not we are independent. He will have to form a conclusion on that, right? And for forming a conclusion, what will he do is he will obtain relevant information which is needed to form the conclusion. He will not be sitting back in his chair, let me conclude independence. No, let me conclude we are not independent. No, he will have some basis for that conclusion, right? And that information will be taken from the firm or the network firm, right? So this network firm is actually defined by the institute. If you go to the essay, if you refer to the study material, then you will see that this definition has been given by the institute, right? Let me show you the definition. Network firm, a firm or entity that belongs to a network. Now what is a network? Network is a large structure that is aimed at cooperation and that is clearly aimed at profit or cost sharing or shares, common ownership, control or management, common quality control, policy and procedure, common business strategy, the use of a common brand name or a significant part of professional resource, right? So this is what the institute has to say. So when we are talking about obtaining relevant information, we would obtain relevant information from the firm as well as the network firm. Network firm means all those firms that are connected to your firm for common resource sharing or profit sharing, right? Or with a common brand name stuff, right? Now I would give you an example of this network firm. Like in the Big Four, for KPMG we have BSR ampersand Co, BSR ampersand Company, BSSR, BSRR. These are the various firms or entities by name of which we operate, right? So these are basically considered as network firm. We share the common resource, right? So you will always have to obtain relevant information from the firm and the network firm as well. Now what kind of information will you take from there? So you will have to identify and evaluate the circumstance and the relationship that will lead to compromise of the independence, right? You will have to find the relation that would compromise the independence. And then if you have identified the breach, you will have to gather additional information on that breach, right? So what we have seen so far is that you will gather relevant information whether or not you are independent. How will you know whether or not you are independent? By obtaining information from your firm or the network firm, right? And how? You'll have to find the relation that would compromise independence. And if you find there is any breach, you will have to take additional information, right? And then you will determine if these threatens the independence of the audit engagement. Okay, we have seen that there is a compromise of independence, but does this also threaten the independence of the engagement that I am into, right? And then you will have to take appropriate action to eliminate that threat if possible, and if you're not able to eliminate it, you will have to reduce it to an acceptable level. And then you will have to promptly report this matter to the firm so that a proper action can be taken. Because if that was already identified, you would have not accepted the engagement. But since you have accepted it, now you will have to take proper action to see what you will have to promptly convey the message to the firm to see what actions you need to take, right? So I think that is where we will end our lecture today, right? That is already too much that you need to understand. So the lecture is over. If you have taken down your hand notes, please revise through it, go through these content, learn them up, and then move on to the next lecture where we will continue with the requirement part, right? So stay tuned for the next lecture. Until then, this is Abhinav Gupta signing off. Thank you. Bye-bye.